Hi, this is a quick video demonstration on a possible solution for being able to build service quotes based off of resource request templates on opportunities so that we can get to the point where we can come up with the service pricing. This demonstration is based off of the conversations we had in the design workshops, and we're really trying to focus on the template that was presented, and so we'll really be trying to mimic what was kind of designed using the quoting templates. However, the key thing here is we're trying to use as much of the product out of the box as we can. So what I've got is I've actually got an opportunity, and before I go in and actually start quoting on this opportunity, I wanted to jump over to the project that we set up. So I've set up a project called Ventyx Focal Point Project Template. This is an example where this is a template we can use because it'll have milestones for when we set the project up, but I also have resource requests on this template. In this case, I've got a project manager, a developer, and a senior developer. Now, the template assumes a certain start date and end date, a percent allocation, and the system calculates the requested hours here. These things will need to get adjusted when we get onto our project, but you can see that there's a standard bill rate and a T&M total value based off that standard bill rate for each resource request. If I happen to drill into this resource request, and again, I'm on the template, I can actually set up resource requests with discount percents if I'd like. And the way that the resource request functionality works is I added a discount percent field. So when a resource request is created, the system looks at the role and it looks at where this request is coming from a region perspective, and in this case, the United States. And so the system actually pulls in a rate card. This rate card has a suggested bill rate of $253. That $253 becomes the standard bill rate on the resource request. The resource request also has an average cost rate, so this becomes the cost rate on the resource request as well. If you do want to kind of do some math around project costing. We added a field called discount percent and sell price, and then we have a total called T&M total. The way it works is that the sell price is a function of the standard bill rate and the discount percent off that standard bill rate. So if I were to come in and actually say, oh, I want to discount this, let's say 10%, you'd see the sell price is adjusted down by 10% off of that standard bill rate, and therefore I would have a T&M total that is factored in from the sale price times the requested hours. So that math is all happening under the covers. There's nothing we need to do to calculate that. I think this sort of is aligned to the fact that we have a standard rate, there will be a discount percent and a sale price, so we can get ourselves a T&M total based off the hours. One thing to note that, again, this is the template, so maybe on my template, before I go ahead and change that, maybe put it back to 0 on the standard rate, so that our sell price actually matches our standard rate, at least for our example, and then when we actually build the opportunity quote, we can start to adjust the discount on the opportunity side. Okay? So this is the template, the project. These are the resource requests that come from the template, or that will come into the template based on what we've set up. Jumping back over to the opportunity now, for me, a couple things to note. We added a service quote section down here that we'll see this starts to get populated as we add our resource requests up here. So I'm going to come in and I want to actually add a resource request from a template. I could pick, so you can have several templates set up in the system. Let's take the focal point project template that we have. And now the system actually is displaying fields. These are configurable. Some of them can be editable, but the basic functionality is that it pulls in all those resource requests that I have for my project on my project template. So there's my project manager, my developer, my senior developer from right here, project manager, developer, senior developer. And it pulls in the values that exist on those records on the template. So I get my standard bill rate. Of course, it's still linked to that rate card, so that's where that standard bill rate comes from. The template has a 0% discount, so my sell price and my standard bill rate match. My requested hours is actually calculated from the template. These will change when I add these to the opportunity. I can go in and now adjust my discount, my requested hours, my start date, and my end date. But the T&M total is a function of the sell price times the hours. The cost rate comes over again from the rate card. So my projected cost just simply takes the requested hours times the cost rate. And it gives me the start date and end date. And now you'll notice the start date and end date here are the start date and end dates that actually are set up on the template. And since the system doesn't know when your actual start and end dates are going to be, there is a master date up here. So assume I wanted to start this project on February 2nd. The system recalculates it, and it just shifts the dates to match the start date and end date. Okay, so at this point, there's not a lot of functionality I can do here other than maybe moving the starting and end date, and some limitations to that as well. But at this point, I'm happy to add it to the opportunity. And the section we added down here on the opportunity actually shows us the information that I think we're the most interested in. So it adds each of these requests into this section. I see my start dates and my end dates, my total hours, my bill rates, the discount percents, the sell price, T&M total, cost rate, projected cost. So that gives me, some basic information. Here's my total hours that I'm looking for. Here's the average standard bill rate. Here's my average discount percent at the opportunity level. Obviously, I'll show this in a second, how it can be different for each individual row. This is the average sell price rate. This is the total for the T&M total, my average cost rate for this, and then my projected cost. Now, if I wanted to change anything, note I can click on the link here. You also know, just as a point of order, that you can actually see these resource requests up here as well, so you can click in here. It's the same information. So if I want to go in and say, hey, I want to give my project manager is going to have a discount, I would click on the project manager link. Takes me right into that resource request, and now I can come in and say, hey, you know what, let's adjust this. Maybe this project manager is only going to be 50% allocated, and I want to give them a 5% discount off of that standard bill rate. So the way it works is the system is now calculating new hours are 220, and my discount is 5%. So if my standard bill rate is 253, my discount is going to be, my discounted sell price rate is going to be 240. So my total T&M amount came back to 52,877. Again, the only thing I'm allowed to change is discount percent and start date, end date, and percent allocation. So I think we can also make it so you can change the requested hours. So if you'd rather not do a percent allocation, but you actually just want to do the hours you want, you can enter it in there. That's, you make your adjustments and you go back onto that opportunity and everything is automatically adjusted up here. So now when I'm looking down here at my services quote, I actually have my project manager, and you'll see here's the standard bill rate. There's that 5% discount. There's my sell price, and there's my adjusted T&M total. So this actually gives me, now I can see, hey, I adjusted, my average bill rate drops, or my effective rate drops down from 205.40 to 202.87. My gross discount for this whole project on this opportunity at this point is 1.23%. And part of this is we can put rules in that says if the discount for any individual row, is greater than 14%, I think, we can have a approval process for just that role. We can also do an aggregation at the opportunity level that says if the entire opportunity is above a certain threshold, the opportunity itself has to go into a discount, into an approval process. So there's plenty of stuff we can do there. We can also do things like automate the actual services priced based off of the T&M total. So there's some additional functionality that this lends itself to doing. One additional comment is that this is kind of painful in the sense that if I need to adjust all of these quickly, there's no way to do it. You have to click into every individual one to do it. It wouldn't be a very difficult stretch to kind of take this page, this information that we have right here, and enable it to have editable fields. I kind of did a quick mock-up to show what that would look like. It would literally be that page, but we would actually make these would be a pick list, so you pick your role. Changing your role obviously would change your standard rate because the standard rate comes from a rate card. But you could add, again, so you could change your roles, change your discount percents, change your start date and end dates, refresh your hours or enter hours, and then do things like add new rows. If you want to just add an additional role, you can. If you want to add from a template, so you might have a template, template A that has all the things for product number 1, and then a template B for all the roles for product 2. We could let you add from a template here, so you don't have to just add individual rows at a time. Certainly you could delete the selected rows, and then ultimately you save and you close it. But the fact would be that as soon as you save it, it takes you right back onto your opportunity, and you see all this data is refreshed, and this is read-only at this point. So that is a pretty straightforward customization we could do to make a little bit easier interface. Otherwise, just click into these roles, and you can do them on a one-by-one basis. The benefit of actually doing things on a screen like this, though, is if you do a discount percent here, the page automatically refreshes. So you can do some planning on this page without having to save it. And then ultimately, when you save it, it then gets persisted back onto the opportunity, and then you have your status. Okay, so that's the services quote side of the house. Now, when I'm actually ready to create my project, I now can just quickly, when I click my create project from template, you'll see I actually now have some. I could take the template. In this case, I'm going to use the same Ventyx focal point template. When I click select, this is the same process we defined in the create project process before. However, now we actually have two sets of resource requests that we can pull from. This first one is the resource request mapping from the template. So it's pulling in the same stuff we already pulled into when we put on the opportunity. Yeah, we may want to hide this. Now, the reason you keep it there is that some people may not be putting resource requests on their opportunity, so they might want to create it, just at project creation time. But otherwise, just unselecting these means that we're not going to create these resource requests when we create the project. Rather, we like these resource requests. These resource requests are already on the opportunity. So you can see I've already adjusted down my requested hours, and I changed my start date and end date. I think we can display the standard bill rate and the sell rate, so we can make this look a little bit more specific to match, to match this layout that we have here. And I should have done that for the demo. But at this point, when I select these will now automatically transfer over to my project, and you'll see these in a minute. I'm going to actually create the project, so bear with me while I create my budget. All that is good, and I'm going to pull in all my milestones as well. I do want to change the start date up here, though, so when I create my project, like we saw before, I actually going to do a start date of 2/2. The end date I'll leave as end date. I'll apply my date offset. And at this point, I need to put a practice in and make it active. And here we go. We create this project. So my project gets created, and there are the resource requests that we brought over. So, and at this point, I can go into each of those resource requests, and I can, I can see it's all the same information. It's the same exact record, so everything transferred over. Now I can go off and I can start the process of finding people to actually fulfill the requests. And so I do my searching, and and away we go. So, so this is a pretty basic structure. We're using almost all of what the tool gives us. There might be some opportunity to create some efficiencies by creating a quick Visualforce page that would allow you to make changes on the fly and see them easily without having to click in and click out all the time. But this is pretty straightforward. So if you have any questions, we will probably want to get on a call and do a follow-up and maybe do this demo in person and actually let you ask some questions and talk through some of the scenarios. But that concludes my demo for creating a services quote on an opportunity.